made a promise to you guys, and I'm a man that keeps his promises. Here we are, October 23rd, 2023, and it seems the theatrical run of Blue Beetle is just about done. On the 31st, it goes on DVD physical sale. It's on digital sale right now, and we're going to do a final chapter on this movie, this thing that I've been tracking for over 2 years. I think I've done over 50 videos just on this film. And that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a great panel for you guys on this video. Now I'm going to start by bringing in your favorite Mexican, because it's not me, because Mike is my favorite Mexican. What's up, amigo?
What's up, Paulie Latino Slant? Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you. And a quick reminder, guys, comment, all that good stuff. PayPal, if you don't want to give YouTube any money, and that's even better for us here at the channel. Okay, Mike, explain to me, numbers-wise, this Blue Beetle was supposed to be for streaming, which means that they allotted money already for it. So how does a company like that put up 90 million for a streaming show, movie, Max, whatever? And is that how do you recoup that?
Okay, I see what you're getting at. So I think if we're going to look at how does this movie doing in terms of box office performance, traditionally the model is how much does it cost, add some value for marketing, which either is or is not disclosed. We look at what it brings in compared to its budget and its marketing costs, and that tells us did it make money or not. And when I say make money, not gross, I mean net. The thing is, when you have a production like Blue Beetle, it was originally meant to be a streaming movie. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that you take HBO, now known as Max, which is their streaming platform, and they've got a budget to allot for a variety of projects. And what they did is they allotted, in this case, the 90 million towards the production value, the production costs of putting this out there. And the idea is that when they were putting it out there, it was going to be a streaming offering. So anything that comes in on the box office is a little bit like gravy on top of everything, because it's already budgeted for, it's allotted for. You know, the expense of this movie, that 90 million or 100, 110, whatever it is, whatever was the production cost, that money is actually coming from an in-house streaming offering budget. And so revenues that have come in from that stream are the HBO Max subscriptions, other revenue is essentially offsetting the cost of that budget. And so one way to look at this thing is that whatever box office it did, the box office is in many ways gravy, especially if you look at the fact that they didn't spend a lot on marketing, which I'm sure you're going to talk about shortly.
Right. And I mean, that's a great point, because technically it's still making dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, not like a lot, but it's, and then it's going to be wrapping up. But just like you said, I mean, it's nearing that 130 globally. Not what you're used to with the big superhero movies. But like you said, are they seeing that in their ledger as a plus?
Oh, I think so. I think it's a little bit I think it's a little bit overkill to say that this movie failed at the box office. I think it underwhelmed in terms of what the results could have been. I think if it had been marketed properly, but the fact that it brought in what it did essentially helped offset, the cost of it. So I don't know. I mean, the thing is that if at the studio level they thought they had something worth putting out there and they actually had the ability to make that decision prudently, they should have then said, if we're going to put it out there, well, let's market it, and let's market it in the right way. And I think tonight we've got a great panel of people who, whether it's, someone like me who sees myself as a pundit, or, other pundits and normies, I think you got a great panel, and I think we should talk about why this movie did do even better.
Right. Sure. And I got one more before we bring everyone else in. At this time, Killers of the Flower Moon at a $200 million budget cost for Apple and Paramount made less its opening weekend than Blue Beetle's opening weekend.
Right. I saw that.
The marketing was all over the place.
The marketing was over the top. I mean, this movie, I can tell you, for me as a normie, I watch sports TV. I saw
Mhm.
ads during baseball and football games.
Wow.
I've seen ads in print and electronic media. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I've seen press and PR for this thing and it seems like it's been for a long time, like 2-3
Yeah.
months now. That
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it run.
Okay.
It's a similar situation with Apple, where this is a movie that is destined to go for streaming. I mean, this is an Apple offering. I don't know how long they're going to leave it in theaters, but this is essentially something that they're trying to do to build value to the brand, to the idea of people going to Apple TV to
Right.
actually watch movies. Which right now we pretty much have that thinking around Amazon and Netflix.
Correct. Correct. And Max. And now they're just
I would
building
argue
their
Max is where we go not to see first run movies, but Max is where we go to see movies like on the replay or on the digital.
movies in the replay. Yeah.
A
But
lot of
I think they're
TV.
all trying to just trying to um library new content.
Yeah.
Like they got an original Scorsese film forever now. Well, Mike, thanks for your insight. That's amazing. Now let's bring in some amazing people, and we can talk about our feelings about the film and what they loved and what went wrong. We have Lily of 300 Mirrors. She's on YouTube streams live and all that stuff, and always has great sharp opinions. Hello, Lily.
Hi, what's going on? I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, thank you. And film critic from the Daily Cella, we all know and love her, Rosa Parra. Woo!
Yay.
Yay!
Yay, ladies. Yay, ladies.
Thank you so much for the
Yeah,
invite.
I feel we should break this up. Here we go. Okay. You heard our little break crunching numbers. Before I ask you what were your general thoughts of the film, did you guys have any thoughts on what Mike just said in regards to numbers?
Okay. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Everything that Mike just said in terms, I am not the wisest when it comes to box office numbers, so please
Mhm.
do not lay all your, do not put all your baskets, all your eggs in one basket with me here. But I do think there were a number of factors that contributed perhaps to the not so quote unquote successful numbers of Blue
Mhm.
Beetle. And I think one that isn't really talked about as much, because I
Okay.
know I've heard left and right about the first trailer and how the first trailer ends and how
Yeah.
it got
Yeah.
politicized so
Yeah.
instantly. And then it was followed by some tweets by Emmanuel Soto that were
Wow. She's
done.
gonna jump right into it.
Oh, yeah, 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 I'm going in.
Jumping right in.
Yeah, let's
And
Okay,
go.
but
let's
only
go.
because I've been hearing all of this time and time again. However, I think Blue Beetle was the first, let's say, studio film to be directly affected by the strikes. Something that Barbenheimer was able to squeeze in to get the press junket done, to do your late night show hosting appearances and all that. And Blue Beetle, unfortunately, didn't get the opportunity to do that. And I think that might have affected it to some capacity here and there. And it's something that I'm not seeing it being discussed as much. Because, hey, can you imagine Cholo Maridueña like hosting SNL? I would have loved that. I would have
Wow, I didn't
loved
even
to
think about
see.
that.
Yes.
That's
I mean, we just had,
maybe him and Bruna on
yes.
SN. Wow,
Or even
that
George Lopez coming on to make an appearance. I know he's more of a polarized celebrity here now, but just to see, or even the whole cast doing it as a familia, right? It would have been nice. It would have been nice to have had the opportunity to see that and to have them charm new audiences into the film. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see it with this film, and I think that may have
Mhm.
had also something to do with it.
Lily, Rosa just brought up a really great element that they just couldn't take advantage of. We just talked about the Bad Bunny Pedro Pascal SNL skit that just blew up the internet. Uh, that something unique and fresh like that, what Rosa just said, to have Sholo on SNL would have been seismic. Would have been because he's, to me, I can't think of a kid who's more well loved at this point with Cobra Kai, good intentions. What are your thoughts, Lily?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point because that skit alone, it's really funny because it's in Spanglish. You get a lot of Spanish mixed in with the English, but for some reason, it's reaching a lot of people. Like every single time that I see it anywhere on social media, everyone's just like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. And even people who don't really understand Spanish are like, oh no, like you can kind of get the gist of what's happening. So if they would have done something like that and bring everybody on SNL and kind of, let them
Yeah.
do their thing kind of like they did in the movie, I think that probably would have been like a really cool thing to see. But yeah, I didn't even consider like the strikes or anything like that because yeah, for me it was mostly the reaction to the trailer that kind of set everything off, and the tweets. And like I had told Paulie before, I wasn't going to watch it because of that, because I was like, you know what, this guy's being a little, very out there about it. But my niece was the one that essentially dragged me out to watch it, and I ended up loving it. So I wish they had actually done something different with the marketing, because it was such a good movie. Like you could take your entire family to it, and it was just a good time for everybody.
Mike, you are the biggest DC fan here.
Oh yeah, by far. I'm a DC nut. I'm such a DC nut that I am now a recovering Snyderholic. So my lack of Snyder follow-up films made my life unmanageable. And hi, my name's Mike, and I'm in treatment, and I'm in recovery.
Rebel Moon, Holmes. Rebel Moon. If anyone was put off on a couple different levels, it would have been you, because you're not a George Lopez fan, and the Batman is a fascist line was so divisive, man.
Batman's
that they would have that in a trailer with no context, I think was done on purpose.
Absolutely, it was done on purpose, because that's how Hollywood marketing people do things, on purpose. Yeah, no, I was completely turned off by the trailer. The tweet by the director didn't make me feel any more warm and fuzzies, and I was completely convinced that I had zero interest, in particular because of not knowing where DC was going and seeing this movie at all. And just the fact that it had a bunch of brown folk in it doesn't drag me to the theater like ooh. It just doesn't. But because of you and all your videos, and also your buddy Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge, I said, you know what, I'm going to check this thing out. And I think did I call you that night and tell you I loved it or something? Wasn't it?
We talked really immediately.
And I know that it was interesting because I was booked to do a live show reaction, and I got booked on a show where I'm sure that I got booked because of my previous reaction to Wakanda Forever, which at this point, my 2 reactions on various channels have well in excess of 500,000 views from my last count.
They do.
Where I went off and ranted my ever-loving brown butt off on how much I hated that film and everything that was in it.
Yep.
So I got booked on the show, and they got to me, and I'm like, you guys aren't going to believe this, but I had fun. In fact, I'm going to tell you this much: I had so much that George Lopez line with context in the actual film was probably the least problematic thing that I saw in the whole movie. I mean, there were maybe a few other things that I thought were out of place, like talking about like how tough immigration is and blah blah blah, which in the modern era, give me a break. It's like from 30, 40, 50 years ago, but whatever. The thing is that I thought the movie was charming, heartwarming. I'm a bit of a Mexican Iron Man armored suit snob. So anytime there's encroachment on anything that looks a little Mexican Iron Man, I was still in trauma from seeing my brown folk be blue in Namor, with Wakanda Forever. So, you got blue guy in a mechanical computer suit or some kind of alien suit.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I found the acting charming. I found the interaction of the family very familiar.
Yeah.
The familial relationships are very familiar to me. I mean, maybe because I'm a California Latino. I wish more people had given it a chance. And I'm kind of bummed out that I myself did not give it a chance without your urging, Paulie, because I think I could have been a little bit instrumental in driving at least more people that I know who might have gone to see it. And look, I plan to buy it digitally. I sure as heck plan to buy the
4K.
The 4K version for sure. I'm going to add it to my collection.
Same.
And I think Rosa's on point. I think that some goodwill by getting the actors, all of them out there, roll them out there like Rosa says, put them on SNL, put them on the late night TV shows, let them roll out there like they did. I mean, good God, when they did the Avengers, they put people up there that you could tell, like Brie Larson and the others, you could tell they didn't like each other, but they're still on the press junket. DC, it's like DC didn't believe in this movie and didn't invest in this movie. They just threw it out there, and the marketing that they did, I found to be inadequate, because a guy like me who's a DC fan, and hey, I was a Chicano community activist for 3 decades before I wasn't anymore. I should have been a natural fit for this movie, and I had an aversion to going. They should have done everything that Rosa said and more.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. Rosa, so it wasn't just one or two things that went against the film, right? You had, like you said, the strike. We couldn't have our young stars get out there who were so charming and good looking, and that draws a film, that makes a film happen. Like it gets excitement going. It was the strike. It was the fact that he's also like a low tier superhero. He's not Batman. And also too, the divisive words that the director said at first, and then seeing him backpedal, now having met him and seeing the hustle that this man started to do weeks before, and then meeting him opening weekend, I got a lot of respect for him. I pretty much don't agree with most of his politics, but I respect his work hustle. For him to come down to our little event that we had, right, was a big deal. But obviously, it wasn't enough, right? I mean, at the end of the day, no one wants to see the director, promoting this film. They wanted their stars. So I guess my question for you is, do you think that this director really hurt this film?
Oh man. Sadly, I can see why some people would be discouraged to see the film after having read his tweets. And you know how I feel about politics. I don't like to talk about them because they just, I'm more of a peace and love kind of gal.
Hey, fair enough.
And politics is the complete opposite of that. So I can understand why people would be discouraged to have to go out and watch the film. At the end of the day, he was a one-man gang, just carrying all the marketing on his shoulders and going to the red carpet and doing everything in his power. I remember because I follow him on X, Twitter, I don't know what to call that thing now. And seeing him be here in LA, and within the next day he was in Texas, in Austin, Texas, doing the promotion. He was just going back and forth and trying to do the best thing, whatever possible. So I can see why he would have affected perhaps some of the marketing or some of the impact on the movie, but I think he did do everything he could to I don't know if to make up for that or just do anything in his power, from not only like being there but also interacting with some people on social media as well, and liking tweets and sharing first reactions and all that. But I think another instrumental factor that happened in this marketing was that for some reason, I don't know who's the head of the Warner Brothers company marketing division, pero I think a lot of the budget and attention was geared towards Barbie, and I think that did have an impact on Blue Beetle. And secondly, Blue Beetle was mainly marketed towards Latinos. We were already sold on
that. Yes,
that's what I was gonna bring up too. Yeah,
we were already sold. We were already a good chunk of us were already sold, and we were already gonna be there. So you didn't have to do those events for King Taco. You didn't have to go far and beyond for us to go watch your movie. We were already sold. You were supposed to be aiming towards the people that weren't going to be interested, towards the people who don't know who Blue Beetle is, to the other people that unfortunately may have felt, I don't want to say discriminated, but left out of the marketing, saying, yeah, this movie ain't for me, so why am I going to go see it?
You're talking about the mainstream audience.
Yeah.
I mean, to build on that, I'm sorry to interrupt to get ahead of line with 300, but Rosa is so on point. I'm not, look, I wasn't one of those that was already going to see it because you had to talk me into it, Paulie. But I will say this is that Latinos in general are overrepresented as a population of people that buy tickets and go to movies. In the general marketplace, we are so high above our population percentage, it's not even funny in terms of movie going. But what we don't do is we don't like to get pandered to, really. I mean, you gotta, and here's the other thing that frustrated me. I enjoyed this movie so much more than The Flash.
Yeah.
And if you look at, I'm sure 300 saw this and Rosa saw this. Look at how much money they spent blowing the wads on cash on The Flash, and that movie was awful. I was literally looking at my watch trying to get out of that thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have at least identified, I would say, a half a dozen things going against it now, right? The strike, the director, the trailer,
the studio execs,
and
their bad decision making,
the lack of our actors being able to promote. But I mean, also too, there was not one but 3 DC films that were disasters going into August for Blue Beetle. I'm amazed it made any money, honestly. I mean, I do think really good word of mouth got out, which is when I saw it recently for the last time in the theater. I saw it 5 times now. It was packed 2 weekends ago, and it had black, it had white families. I mean, I was like, nice. I'm glad that people were able to come and see this, but Lily, this thing with Latino representation, it's kind of a catch-22, right? It's like, yeah, but, and they failed.
Yeah.
They being the marketing at Warner Brothers.
Yeah, well, just like Mike and Rosa had already pointed out, like the audience was already there. We weren't the ones that they were supposed to be marketing towards. And unfortunately, like in my friend circle, like my friends that are not Latinos, they felt that because they were like, well, they're saying that it's for you guys. So why should I go watch this movie? Like, am I even going to get anything out of it? And after I saw it, I told everybody, I was like, no, like, just give it a chance. You're going to like it. And sure enough, they came back and they were like, oh my gosh, it's actually a really good movie. Like, I can't believe that they market it that way. So they hurt themselves and they hurt this movie, and it's so unfortunate because it's so good. And I'm gonna buy it on physical media too because I need a copy. Like, it was so cute. That whole movie just had me like that dynamic between the father and son, and then seeing like all the rest of the family, the tios. Like I had said before, I can see all of my family members in that, but that doesn't mean that other people who are not Latinos can't relate to that either. I'm sure everyone has the crazy uncle, and everyone has, a really good relationship with like a parent, mom or dad, or you're that close to your siblings. Like you can relate to it. So I wish they hadn't just marketed it that way, because it really, really did hurt the film. Like they should have just said, you know what? This is for everybody. This is a big old family. We're all family here. So come out and watch it.
Let me throw this to you guys, and then we will shift into what we really loved about it, and then we can wrap it up. But let me just throw this at you guys, because I've been thinking about it. This is turning out to be a huge year for U.S. Latino films in the theaters and in streaming. We haven't seen anything like this. I can give you a 10 films right now that are just incredible this year, from Flaming Hot, Million Miles Away, Blue Beetle, to When Evil Lurks, Cassandro, all diverse within themselves, female directors, I don't know what, you name it. But this is my job, is to cover these films. No one knows about these movies, Rosa. No one knows about these films, Mike and Lily, as far as the general market. Is there a political agenda as to these movies not being the right fit for them to promote as their Latino film? What's going on? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll jump in and say that I think it's a studio executives' lack of the ability to make prudent decisions when it comes to marketing. That's really it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have, it's this weird thing. I think from one perspective, I think that they think that we're just going to show up because we show up in mass anyways for almost everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, well, we don't have to market them because they're gonna show up, but then they take us for granted or take the whole, they take the marketing game plan for granted, so they don't put any effort into it. And they got to get people in the know, frankly, who those people are. And like, for example, one of the things I remember you said is that if this guy is going to be the star of the movie and playing Blue Beetle, why not have special promos at dojos across the country? Because every kid that's doing any form of kung fu, karate, or
Mm-hmm.
anything in between taekwondo, and there are literally hundreds of thousands of kids doing that just like they do soccer every single day. You
Yep.
literally just send them out to every dojo in America and give them one free ticket, and they're going to be dragging their parents and their friends and another 5, 10, 15 tickets out. Even
Yep.
if they and just say, okay, look, we're going to market this Hispanic kid who's playing this character, Blue Beetle, but we're going to do it to the general market. I mean, there's so many ways that they could have gone at this thing. And I think part of the problem is that Hollywood marketing is very one dimensional. They're like, like the example that Rosa mentioned, King Taco promos. I don't need a King Taco.
No.
I mean, yeah, I remember covering that a few months ago, because even in the film, if you remember, he poses as Miguel in Cobra Kai because he's getting ready to fight. You take that body shot, you make it into a stand up. You take that stand up of Sholo doing his little karate stance, get 2 free tickets, take that stand to every dojo in America, and you got something going. Absolutely. That is a great way to market to the general audience, because the general audience knows Cobra Kai. They don't know anyone else in this film. No, the kids don't know George Lopez. That's it. They know Cobra Kai. Rosa or Lily? Is anything to add?
I was just gonna ask real quick. Did they even mention, like, in the promos or anywhere, that it was like Xolo Maridueña from Cobra Kai
Nope.
as Blue Beetle?
I never saw that.
Oh my gosh, that is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Huge.
Wow.
Huge. Because what did I see Ralph Macchio? Maybe it was one of the producers of Cobra Kai congratulating after he saw the film on his Twitter, which was cool. It's a shame too, because the Cobra Kai cast couldn't even,
I think that's also a problem in some of the marketing materials. There was too much Blue Beetle. If I were to recut the trailer, I would have zoomed in on him. I would have zoomed in on the love story. I would have zoomed in on some heartfelt moments, versus like pew, 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 pew. I also think that in the movie itself, they needed more scenes like they did with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, where the helmet, you see more
off.
of his face.
You see his face, not
Yeah.
just his eyes. Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
think there was too much. I think there should have been more of that. But I mean, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I think a lot of the problem is we don't have people in the studio execs. Look, if they happen to be Latino who are studio execs, that's great. But I just need somebody who understands how to market these types of movies to the types of fans that would want them. I mean, my God, one of my favorite movies of all time, Blood In, Blood Out. Taylor Hackford isn't Latino, but hell, he grew up all around Latinos. And so when he had to do Blood In and Blood Out, he killed it. He nailed it out of the park. We just need some people to start marketing stuff properly so we can start, hitting stuff out of the park. Otherwise, we're going to continue to be getting these films that, whether we star in them and they're mainstream or they're targeted to us or they're in English or Spanish, we're going to continue to see lackluster results.
Rosa.
Yeah, no, I agree. I echo everything that's just been said. And sadly too, if it goes to, like you just mentioned, Cassandra, or something that came out earlier, like on Netflix, something like Chupa, or It's the streamers, unfortunately, that don't necessarily push these films also. So it's based on studios, whether it's a streaming or a smaller indie film. And again, the strikes definitely come in and affect these things, because the actors can't tweet about anything. They can't do or say anything. And the only people that are out there right now are literally just like musicians and people who aren't members of SAG. So it's unfortunate that I can see how Blue Beetle was definitely one of the first movies to feel its direct impact. And yeah, but I mean, in terms of the movie, I mean, I loved it. I've seen it 6 times in the theater. I already
Oh, did
purchased
you? You
it.
saw
Oh,
more than
hell
me,
yeah.
huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I had
You saw it
to.
twice, right, Mike? Or once?
Twice.
In the theater.
Twice.
Twice in the theater. That's big for
Yeah.
Mike. Wow.
Yeah, that's super huge for me. Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
don't
much
see
5
anything.
times.
Yeah,
Right,
I
because
don't
you
see
have no
anything in the
time.
movie twice.
Yeah.
And Lily saw it once?
I saw it twice.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah, I saw it
Nice.
twice. And I took my entire family. So.
Great
Okay,
photos, by the way, on Twitter. Go to her Twitter page.
Oh, and then I still have some other ones to put up too, because I showed Paulie, I sent him the pictures that we actually had the suit that Sholo was wearing in the movie.
Right.
They sent it to our theater. So I got some pictures of it, and I posed with it too. So that was cool.
Yeah, and then I got the Darth Vader's gonna follow me. Okay, I got the Scarab backpack.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cute.
And it opens up.
Did you
And
guys
when you
get
got it at the theater, they had popcorn in it.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask, because I got a tin with Blue Beetle too, but it didn't look like that. It's just like a regular, like the tin. Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that one.
All right. So okay, kind of doing a slow pivot, which is nice. In some promotions for the upcoming physical release, and it is on. You can rent it right now on VOD. They asked the director, within this term of Latino, there's so many different cultures and experiences. As a Mexican American myself, Jaime's family felt so intimately familiar to me, and there were so many cultural nods. Selena, the Up in Smoke bobbleheads, in Rudy's car. Were you able to capture that specifically? I think that it was the easiest part, because that's who we are. Sure, it's fantasy, it's action, but it's a fantasy that has us in it. We understand that we cannot pull all of the Latino experience in one box. This is Soto answering, by the way. We're not a monolith, but there's a lot of things that connect us from, like you mentioned, I'm waiting for the scroll. From, like you mentioned, Selena, from Luis Miguel to El Champolín Colorado. Those things connect us big time. From reggaeton to Soda Stereo. I don't like reggaeton, but I love Soda Stereo. To Soda Stereo might be specific to Argentina, but we heard it in Puerto Rico. We remember how we felt. Gareth, who's the writer of the movie, he's Mexican. And I'm from Puerto Rico. And we just found that we have way more in common than we have differences. So let's celebrate. Let's celebrate that. Yeah, this article just came out. I think this is a fantastic answer to a very oftentimes kind of softball question, and it can get very wokey and kind of like goofball answer. What was some of the like more charming, like it's like either had you laughing or just hit your heart? What were some of the moments for you, Rosa?
Oh man. Let me start with something that I saw on Saturday, which was Bad Bunny hosting SNL, and when he says in Spanish, me da mucho gusto estar aquí en Sábado Gigante, and that was just awesome. Yeah. And to see that little clip from Sábado Gigante to María la del Barrio, novelas that I would watch obviously with my mom, because That's what my mom would do, novelera, right? And seeing to Macario, which Macario is, it's the first Mexican film to depict the Day of the Dead, but also to be nominated for an Academy Award for Mexico in the international feature. It's just, and obviously Cronos, which also deals with the scary, which is Guillermo del Toro's directorial debut. So to me, all of it, I identified, and I laughed and I giggled, and I was just so seen on every level. I am the daughter of undocumented parents, so to me, seeing that that immigrant experience depicted that way, yes, it may be stereotypical to many, and I understand that because it's been depicted often. To me, it's reality. To me,
that's your reality.
Coming home to school, fearing that my mother was not going to be there because she might have been deported, it was my day-to-day thing. And so to see that depicted, especially that scene they have where they have the raid, that was, I cried. I was just moved just to even imagine how many families had experienced a similar scenario like that. Obviously, the familial dynamic hit me to my core as a daughter, but also now as a mother of 4, and to have had seen the movie with my kiddos was also very important and memorable, because they too were able to identify and pinpoint here things in there. And throughout the film, because we all saw it together like 4 times, and then I saw it another 2 times by myself, and they would turn to me and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you do that!" Or when I'm drinking my tea, or pinpointing things like a bag of Takis in the back, or stuff like that. And it was, again, to me, it was very special. And the fact that they communicate in Spanish and English, again, that's what I do. That's how I communicate. It meant a lot to me. So yeah, it's a movie that it's still one of my favorites of the year. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "How can you have that film up there above Barbie and Oppenheimer?" I'm like, "Oh,
definitely, but
my
Barbie for
list."
me.
Oh, it is. It is probably not above Oppenheimer, but it's close to
Oppenheimer
it.
was
It might be
amazing.
next to it. But you know
great. Those
what?
are,
The soundtrack. I mean, I
oh
grew up
yeah,
listening to rock en español. So yeah, so the stereo was easily one of those bands
it's a
that I
great
was
song.
familiarized. And then to go from La Chona to to Calle 13, and then Cypress Hill, that sequence was awesome. I never thought I'd see an action sequence with Cypress Hill and having a Latino superhero starring in it. So I loved it. If you cannot tell.
Mike, I'm very curious as to the moments you really loved. I'm very curious.
Number one, there was a romantic love interest happening in a movie, which I haven't seen pretty much in hardly anything since 2015 and 16. So that was great. Number two is that no one was going on an introspective journey to figure out what their identity politics was. That was awesome.
Nice.
I'm being dead serious as a heart attack, but no, I mean, some good old fashioned romance is awesome. So that was great to see. And number three is I got to tell you that George Lopez won me over, at least in this thing. I mean, in real life, I can't stand the guy. I don't think he's funny. I think his comedy sucks, and all the shows do. But his portrayal, the way he was written, and the way he came off in this movie, he won me over. And that's a tough thing to do, because I was pretty offended about the Batman line. I mean, I'm a Batman-aholic and have been since I was a wee little lad. Kevin Conroy gave me a birthday gift of a birthday message. That was my gift, where Kevin Conroy, right before he died, some friends organized Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, to give me a personalized message. To this day, I can't watch it because I always cry when I watch it. So, but George won me over, and credit to the director and the writers for doing that. I thought it was really charming seeing Grandma come out with guns ablazing. That's very comic booky. I never read Blue Beetle. He was never a character that I followed at all in the DC universe. But when she came out of guns ablazing, whether it's a grandma with pistols or a grandma with a couple sandals ready to throw, it's not I mean, it's kind of comic booky, but it's not. But the fact that it happened within her personality profile was just awesome. awesome. I found it charming. I could go on and on for another hour, so I'll just pick those three
No,
things.
this is
and
good. That's what this stream is all about. Honestly, we talked about how the studios failed on this movie. Now we get to celebrate it, and then we're done. Lily.
Apart from everything that kind of came up in the environment, like Rosa mentioned, like the TV shows and the music and all of that, I think for me where it hit a lot is that I'm literally Jaime. I'm the one that went to college from my family first. And just, I'm going to get all emotional.
Yeah, you're getting me. I'm like,
yeah. So every time like his family showed up everywhere and they were like always gassing him up and like super excited. And when they showed up when he was going to go for the job interview, I was like, oh my gosh, that's my family. Because you can feel like how proud they are of you. So to me, that's what really, really hit me really hard, because that's me with my dad. Like my dad has always just wanted me to just follow my dreams, do what I really wanted to do. And he's been supporting me like all the way. And when everything happened in the movie, like with his dad, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So for me, it was more that aspect, that I'm literally Jaime's character. I come from like this big family, and they always encouraged me, go to college, do what you want to do. And I saw myself in that completely. And yeah, just how he had his whole family supporting him, and no one ever told him like, no, you're never going to achieve anything and you're never going to get anything done. And no, because that's not my family either. They've always just pushed me to do more, to do everything that I want to accomplish. And just seeing that around him, especially when he's trying to finally be, the hero that everyone's telling him that he can be, and he's like, no, you know what, I got this. And when he like has that little talk with his dad, I was like, oh my gosh, that had me sobbing. And just thinking about it, because that's my dad. That's like the relationship that I have with my dad.
Okay, everything you guys said. But this is a highly entertaining film. Mike, this is a perfect little origin story of a superhero, of a would-be Clark Kent. This is a good kid. I love Jaime Reyes. That's the first thing. That's the first thing, right? That's what I if anything, like we said, I wanted more Xolo's face. Absolutely, just hooked me in. This kid who comes back and his world is kind of like just completely changed, and he's trying to figure out a way to help his family out, while he finding his own way as well. And then he's given this incredible power. Okay, two things. So besides it being incredibly entertaining, there's some incredibly vulnerable moments in this film with him and his father, which, like what you were saying with the romance, I mean, you also don't see a father bestowing knowledge and in mentorship in a film to his son. You don't even have a father nowadays. This father was there for him in the cosmos, and that whole scene in the cosmos floored me. Yeah, floored me. I'm like, can we just have a movie on that? Because really get to see Demian Alcazar really get to act in Spanish, which I wish he just would have acted in Spanish. But that whole interaction blew me away. And then and it looked beautiful cinematically. And then the moment where Nana, there's two points where she says, "Now's not the time to cry. We gotta go save Jaime."
Oh my gosh!
And then full circle, they succeed. They are, fuck, you're alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. You're alive. And then they all look at her, and she's like, "Yeah, now's the time to cry." And I was just like, yeah. Those were some of my favorite moments. And I think what we all explain, and anyone who hasn't seen this movie yet, and you're a non-Latino, I think you can connect to everything that we just said. That's really how unique this little film is. And yeah, there's some problems with it, but it's like more like just story maintenance, as far as the dialogue and the writing. But you know, the charm of these actors and the pacing, and you know, so yeah, guys, any final thoughts?
I just want everybody to watch it. Give it a chance, like we did, like me and Mexican Iron Man over here. We loved it. So it's coming out on Blu-ray. It's going to be streaming. So everybody watch it.
Yeah, no one's getting paid here on this panel by Warner Brothers. By the way, we're here because final thoughts. I just want to add this thing in there. Is there a future for Xolo as Jaime Reyes going forward in the DC universe, or whatever Gunn's naming it?
I hope so.
I mean, I don't. I think he'd be great. I think he's a great actor. I hope he does, but I don't know what's going on at DC. James Gunn's so all over the map, and I'm kind of. If they're smart, they will do something here. I mean, I just look at how much money they threw behind the Flash and that actor and that script and that movie, and you know, with just a little bit of effort put in the right place, I think you could have you know, another Blue Beetle 2. The way the movie ended left some more origin story opportunities for what, you know, the original Blue Beetle. I don't know what they're doing over at DC. I've been a DC fan is tough for. You know, there's been a few movies here and there. Other than that, it's been miserable the last 30 years. You don't know.
I mean, what's harder for you, being a DC fan or a Chicano? I mean, seriously.
Being a DC fan's way harder.
That's funny. Rosa, any final thoughts?
You know what? I'm gonna be the optimistic one here. I have faith in James Gunn. After all, he is the one responsible for Guardians of the Galaxy, and that is my favorite thing Marvel has ever done. It's still my favorite movie of the year, Guardians 3. Wow. And his Suicide Squad was pretty darn good. Maybe I'm just I'm just one of those people who is a big fan of what he does with the characters and his type of humor, which psychologically might not be good for me. But you know what? I have hope in him, because I think if anybody, he's a fan of these stories. He's a fan of the comics. And if anybody who's in charge of such a big franchise like the DC, who is more of the artistic visionary rather than the business side of things, I think that does make a difference when it comes to creating movies like this. And we side with Blue Beetle. So I'll remain optimistic. I have no shame if I'm definitely wrong to come and admit it, that I was wrong. And in terms of Blue Beetle, oh man, I can't recommend this film enough. I was already sold when I watched the trailers, when I heard about the casting, even before anything was done. And controversial thing I'm about to say, I far better like Xolo as Blue Beetle than I do Tom Holland as Spider-Man. So I'm gonna
no doubt.
I'm gonna
Agreed.
continue.
Yeah.
Okay, so not controversial. Cool.
not
he's
here.
just more charismatic. He's just got more magnetism. I can't keep my eyes off him. He's that type of actor.
Xolo.
Right. Xolo.
Not Tom and not Ezra.
No. Oh gosh, I don't talk about Ezra.
Oh, sorry. We don't talk about Bruno.
About Bruno. Yeah. Correct. Yes.
It would be foolish, Mr. Gunn, for you to not tie Xolo to a 10-year contract and get all that young talent and keep them. They're special. And go forward, Mr. Gunn. Go forward with Xolo and Jaime. I want to thank all you guys. You guys were amazing. Rosa Parra, Lily, 300 Mirrors, Mike, the Mexican Iron Man. All their links will be in the video box description. But now is the time for you guys. You guys watching this, comment. I want to know your thoughts, whether I agree or not. That's not the point. I want to know your thoughts. And just, make sure you are subscribed, all that good stuff. And wherever you're at, keep your slant fuerte. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, panel.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.